ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is Maverick here with episode 15 of No Guns Live. So, basically, at the last episode, we finally come face to face with the infamous Victor, right? The brother of Mary, or at least sort of surrogate brother of Mary, and also, as it turns out, the technician for Juzo back during the war. Well, he is certainly kind of being cryptic and all that, and a little bit loose in the head, which might not be entirely his fault if he does come from the old batch of Extended and whatnot. We do know that they have, they over time they get a little bit crazy, have some psychological problems and all that. But well, we're not gonna get to the end of that situation before we watch Juzo and Victor duke it out and beat the crap out of each other. So hopefully we have an epic fight in this episode. Let's get right to it. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Juzo's missing a hand right now, but something tells me that he's still going to kick some ass. They're Sergey brother, right? Or did I miss something? Eh. I mean, Mary turned out to be pretty okay, I gotta say. Yep. And opening. Well, I mean, once again, it's not exactly a storyline that's something we've never seen before and all that. But hey, I feel like I don't know, just the fact that, you know, I've seen this kind of storyline before and that has been executed a lot better as well. I'm just trying to go through like why this storyline doesn't have as much impact. I feel like we haven't really been with these characters enough. Like, for instance, Mary, no, she's always been sort of there, but not really, if you guys know what I mean, even though she is part of the main cast and all that. And this entire Victor storyline and whatnot. I mean, really, we were mentioned, Victor was mentioned like once or twice in the first season, right? We know that it had something to do with Mary, something to do with Juzo, but that was basically it. Well, it's... Well, none of your opponents before really recognized that anyways, so... Yep. What I tell you guys, those mannequins are definitely gonna be moving. And often lose their free will. Whack! Taking out the trash. Well, I mean, that's already not true, considering you didn't take down Juzo immediately. Yep. Probably his auto defense mechanism is gonna kick in any moment. The Beverance Slayer. So he was supposed to kill the other gunslave units? Yeah. So he can actually... I mean, I know that Mary's being horrified of Victor right now, but what I'm thinking is that Juzo can actually survive this kind of attack. Rock. Now that's a pretty old reference. Oh shit. Wait, who? What? Who? Oh. Oh. Man, look at that imagery. Whew. Really? It can't be this easy. Yeah. Right, so this is the true victor, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shadow? You're asking awfully a lot of somebody, of a man who just lost both his arms. Right? Right. As an extended expert, right? Makes sense. Okay. So you'd basically need to create like clone yourself? Yeah, in a sense, right? That's kind of funny. If one won't work, just throw two in there. so then one subbrain ended up being overpowering the other. Horrors of war. I mean, friendly. Oh, oh, damn! It got discovered. Oh no! Wait, he was the one who did this? Okay. Subbrain took over. Chill extended. But uh, what I don't understand is Victor. Why is he? Yeah. So why is Victor able to project to this right now? something seems fishy about all. Trying to basically ask him to kill himself? Can he actually survive after subbrain is destroyed? That doesn't really make sense. You were able to split even. So he's gonna save him under the pretext of getting payment, eh? Alright. But what about the guy hiding around the corner? No? The EMS guy? I was wondering where he was for throughout this entire time. Alright. See you guys after this. Alrighty, so we did learn the story of Victor in this one, at least so far as he can tell us anyways. I do think that he is deliberately leaving some parts out of the story. I feel like there are some unresolved things, like such as him being so cryptic about where his body actually is and all that. But I think for the most part, he's telling the truth. He's just leaving out some other key information here, right? And so it did turn out to be a case where, his body was kind of taken over by this other conscious, if you will. Only I guess the difference between what I was predicting and what happened here is I actually thought that this might have been an extension, well, no pun intended, of the problems that have been plaguing most of the extended, or at least the early ones, those that were made back during the war, right? Like them going crazy and all that, and basically losing themselves and then just killing indiscriminately and whatnot. I thought it was actually a sort of a sort of situation similar to that, but instead it was just a fair factor of Victor having maybe a little bit too much processing power in his subbrains and whatnot, and for them to actually gain a conscience of their own and take over the body, and yeah, the rest is history, I guess. So we have that part. And then also, I think even more interesting for me than that would be what he was calling Juzo, right? So apparently, he called him some sort of, like, I'm not sure if that's German or whatnot, but basically it translates to roughly betrayal and then 13, right? So I think the exact thing they used here was like reference Slayer 13. And I think just by its name alone, we can probably infer what Juzo's role actually is. So even though he was of the original batch of Gunslave units, probably he was there as the safety feature, right? I mean, it's definitely a tale that's as old as time. Once tools have outlived their usefulness, especially these very strong militaristic-oriented kind of tools and assets, you need to get rid of them, right? Lest they turn on you or they fall into the wrong hands and whatnot. So Juzo was probably the insurance policy here, and once the Gunslave units had served their purpose, Juzo was going to be the one that goes in and shuts them all down, and that is that, right? At least that's what I'm inferring here from just this name alone. I mean, it's quite an obvious on the nose kind of name, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much the case here. It would also sort of explain why there aren't any other gunslave units beside Juzo, and he's the only one that survived this entire ordeal. In fact, I feel like that is kind of funny as well, because typically when you have someone to mop up the the loose ends, tie up the loose ends, if you will. There's always this lingering fear of there being yet another person behind the person who was there to take care of the loose ends, right? Because then he becomes the loose end himself. So basically, once the other gunslave units are disposed of Juzo, well, then Juzo is the remaining threat, right? So should there be someone who also disposes of Juzo? Who knows? Although, obviously, since he has been living relatively safely for this time, I'm assuming not. Right, and beyond that, what else in this episode? Oh, so the fight between Victor and Juzo didn't really turn out as epic as I was expecting. I was really hoping that Juzo would once again transform into, I think we saw a glimpse of that in the first season, where basically his sort of conscious also shut down and the subconscious took over, the self-defense mechanisms took over, and then we really see Juzo with his with his unleashed strength and whatnot. But I guess it's a little bit too early for that. We're only like 3 episodes into this season. I will say, however, my favorite scene of this episode has to be when Mary took the trigger of Juzo, and then we have this great shot of her blood streaming down her face, her hair's all messed up, you only see one eye, and then her clothes is all in tatters and whatnot. But that was a really, really cool image, and I think that image probably existed directly in the manga as well. They just chose to animate that portion, right? If that was a scene in the manga, I think that is definitely one of those that deserves a full page spread, heck, even like a 2-page spread of just that scene alone, because that was certainly quite epic. That was a pretty nice, how should I say it? That was a pretty nice imagery at that point in time of the entire situation, and especially the eyes. I love it. The sort of the sadness yet the determination in her eyes as she's pulling a trigger and whatnot. That was great. Definitely my favorite scene from this episode, and indeed from this season so far. And also, I like that they made a nice little reference as well with the boob rockets, or more commonly known as the Opie missiles. Now that's a really old school reference. I'm not sure if there's that many people who still reference that nowadays. I mean, it originated from a very old mecha series, one of those OG mecha series called Mazinger Z or Mazinger Z. Which the female heroine of it, the mech that she piloted, was able to have these boob missiles. Basically, I think the Japanese, even though it has a an official name and whatnot, I think most Japanese at that time just called it Opie missiles, which basically means breast missiles or boob missiles or whatnot. So that was a really, really old little reference there, but I liked it. I mean, this series is trying to be old school, right? So I think it fits in with that context. So anyways, that's it for this episode. Obviously, we got the supposed good guy or whatnot, with an ego and whatnot, trying to take custody of these rogue extended and whatnot, and and gain all the praise and do a good job and so on and so forth. But I think I've mentioned before that they are just there as cannon fodder. I don't really think it's a threat and whatnot. Well, we're probably gonna see Juzo and Mary handle it just fine in the next episode. Not to mention, they definitely still have some allies as well. So there we go. That's it for episode 15 of No Guns Life. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.